Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we are covering Schedule and Dispatch Advanced. This webinar will cover advanced scheduling features. We'll look into tracking leads when you are creating appointments, setting up multi-day appointments, looking into diving deeper into appointment details, setting up your notifications and messaging that auto send from your system, looking at other events, flag for follow-up, time clock settings, and scheduling reports. We'll do a live Q&A at the end where you'll be able to get your questions answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's dive into WEX FSM. When you first log in, as I'm sure you know, that brings you to the schedule page. And really the first thing we're going to look at is creating an appointment from scratch, but I'm going to point out some of the things that we do not cover in our basics session. To create a new appointment, you will click New, enter your customer's name, and select that customer. And the first thing I want to look at is how you can actually track leads when creating appointments. If you notice, there is a drop down on the left here that is next to job type, and it says Show Lead. When I click on that, this is basically asking, where did this customer hear about your business? Where did this lead for this job you're doing come from? And if this is the first time that you are doing an appointment or, doing a job for this customer, you can literally just ask them. Maybe you're on the phone with them, and you just say, hey, where did you hear about our business? And you will be able to click and select from a list of lead sources. Now, this list is customizable. You can update what this says here. And to do that, you will go to, and we're just going to hop off of this page for a second. You will go to Settings, Marketing, and the first tab is Lead Sources. So if you have not done this already, I would come in here and you know better than anyone where your customers are coming from and just add those into here. Some examples, maybe you had a fall email promotion that was sent out to prospects, and that's how you got some jobs. Maybe you want to add like word of mouth. People heard about it from their neighbor. Anything you add in here will be saved and will show up in the lead source dropdown when tracking the lead. Let's say that this customer heard about us from, oh, someone has touched my lead sources. There used to be a Facebook in here. Let's say that they came from email marketing. Um, then from here, you are able to track whether this is considered an opportunity or not. And this is actually pretty unique. If this is set to on, if you turn opportunity on, it's saying that there is an opportunity for you to do business for this customer, and it will track in your close rate on the proposals report. So just to give you an example here, we're going to pop out, we're going to go to reporting, original, and under the jobs section on the reporting page, we'll go to the proposals report. Now, for any customers that you're going to go out, you're going to do the job for them. Maybe it's your single family home, residential, you're doing your service calls. Those maybe you don't want to factor into your close rate because those are not big jobs that you are like bidding for or, considering a win versus a loss. But for those big jobs, maybe you are bidding for those jobs in competition with other providers in your area, or it's just a big job in general that you're going to make a proposal for, give that to your customer, and they will either accept or decline. And you want to be able to track that. Number one, when creating the job or the appointment, turn opportunity on. That will then consider this an opportunity. You create a proposal for that job, you send it to the customer, and they sign it and accept it. That will go towards a win for your close rate. If they decline it, that will go towards a loss. And then that is a way that you can track your wins versus losses on whether you did the job or not and give you a proper close rate. If you're not using the opportunity, the system will not know which jobs you want to consider in the close rate and not, and that number most likely will not be correct when you look at your close rate on the proposals report. You can toggle this from the job level. So if I go into just a random job here, each job page that you have, you do have the option to turn on or off opportunity right from here on the job page. However, when you're scheduling, you can also preemptively turn opportunity on from the lead section. Then that is leads and lead sources. Um, if you have a current campaign running in the email marketing section of WEX FSM, you can assign a campaign. Maybe they literally heard about you from the campaign you're currently running, and you can tag those campaigns if they're running in your system right now. So that is tracking leads and opportunities. Next, let's take a look at how you can create a multi-day appointment. We know, if you've been using the schedule page, you can click new, enter your customer, select a date, a time, and a technician, and schedule. But that would be typically a one-time frequency. Now, you do have the option to very quickly make this happen daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly. So you have some quick frequency actions you can select from here. But if we click on Show Advanced, that is where we can get a little more detailed on how we would like this to reoccur. If we hover over the eye, these are some options you can input here. You can have it happen every weekday. Maybe you just want it to happen Monday through Friday. You can have it happen every 2 weeks on Tuesday, every week on Mondays and Wednesdays. So you're typing in what you want the system to do. And let's say I have a project that I want my technician, Dustin Bailey, to work on all day, Monday through Friday for a week. It's a huge job. And, he's going to be out there, and I'm even going to add some helpers to go out and help him with that. So to do that, let's put in every weekday. And it's going to start, let's say, next week. So it'll start on the 30th. And then it will end on the 3rd. And this is saying this is going to recur every weekday until April 3rd. And let's say it's an all-day event, so we'll start him at 8 a.m. and end at 5 p.m. And I want Dustin to go there, but I also need him to have some help, so we'll go ahead and send out Lisa and Torsten. And there we go. We will hit schedule. And this will start on the 30th. So let's go to our weekly view and go to the 30th. And there we go. Instead of having to go in and create a single day 5 times, I now have just created the entire week. I've added additional technicians. Now, on Monday, when Dustin shows up to work, he'll look at his schedule and every day he'll have something in there for him to do. And these are all connected to the same job. That's another important part of this. If I go in and create individual appointments, each appointment that I create is going to create a separate job so that they'll be completely separated. In this case, we can just click into the job and when Dustin goes out, actually all three, anyone I have included in this, they will be able to update their statuses, let's say from the mobile app out in the field. And me in the office, I can just come into this job and see exactly what's going on, the time clocks for each, the scheduled time that I set when I scheduled it, the actual time that each technician has input when they're clocking in and out for the day, and their statuses from here. Let's go back to the schedule page. And that is setting up multi-day appointments. Now, let's take a look at, dive a little deeper into some appointment details. So let's go back to today. I'm going to change my view back to daily. And we're going to click new. Let's get our customer Justin back in here. So a couple other things to point out. Let's say that you are talking to the customer and they say, "Hey, I have a new address and I want you to come out and service, a new rental property that I just purchased." You don't have to go to the customer page to make that update. You can actually just go to the job location section when creating the appointment, click on the edit button, and then you can add or update any of their information here. If you want to update, you simply click on the address, make your updates, and click save. Or if you want to add a new address, you click the plus button, fill out that info, hit save, and go right back to making the appointment. Um, I know customers before who don't know about that either click out of this and now you lose all your progress, or open a new tab and navigate to the customer, and it just takes too much time. So in this case, you can just make those updates directly in the appointment modal, and those updates that you make will save to the customer profile, so you'll have those in the future when it's time to schedule for that address again. We have the appointment tab, which we just used and saw here, but you also have other tabs here, which give you great information and insight into this customer. Calls and notes will be any notes that have been added to this address that is selected here. If you update and change the addresses, that is going to update and change the notes. And that way you know that these are the notes that relate to the appointment you're creating. Notes can come in really handy if you have pieces of information that you need to remember each time, like a gate code. And if you want to set up a belled note, that can come in really handy for pieces of information you need to know every time. I know some of my customers will put filter sizes in there because, you're not going to memorize those filter sizes. It gets annoying to have to look up the filter sizes and type those into the appointment notes every time you need to, change a filter. So if you would like a belled note that will show up at the top of your notes section and be available anytime you do a appointment for that location, that is set up from the customer page. So let's just pop out to Justin's customer page. And to create a belled note, you will click the leave a note about the customer button. select which address you want the note to be applied to, and turn on the bell. Let's put our filter size in here. And then when you click save, that will pin that to the top of the customer's timeline on the customer page. But then, 2 months from now, it's time for us to go out and maybe do a maintenance for Justin. I start creating the appointment and I can quickly go to my calls and notes, and that belled note will be right there every time. So good for preventing you from having to type in these notes manually every single time. Then balance. If the customer owes you money, you will see a exclamation point. And if you click into this, it will show you how much they owe you and all of the invoices that are in their account here. Then maintenance plans. If they have any maintenance plans, let's say I'm doing a job for Justin that's completely unrelated to his maintenance that we owe him, but I get a reminder here. So I may say, hey, we're going to come out and, fix, the thing we're going to fix, but I'm also going to have my technician fulfill your Comfort Club Plan service. And then that way we can get your AC cleaning out of the way. And maybe that can help alleviate some of the scheduling that you would need to do manually. You're already going out there. You've got a reminder that you have a service window. So this is a good reminder to complete that service, maybe at the same time as another service you're doing for them. And equipment will just show you the equipment history. And if you need to know what equipment is on hand, you will always have a reference of that right from here. At the bottom, so let's go back. Whoopsie. I didn't mean to do that. All right, so we're scheduling. We get to the bottom. We have appointment notifications and reminders. Now, most of my customers, they know about this. It's pretty self-explanatory. Scheduled means it's going to send an appointment confirmation out to the customer. You can turn on 1 week or 1 day prior reminders, and en route will send a notification to the customer when your technician hits on my way from the field. Send them a message. Some of my customers have never looked at what those messages actually say. Now, we understand the industry here at WEX FSM, so we have some default messaging that is in your system, but you can actually update and edit exactly what all of your outbound messages say. And to do this, you will go to, I thought I had it preloaded. You'll go to Settings, Call and Notifications. And then there's 2 pages for this. There's email notifications and text notifications. And they're different. So you can have your email notifications say something different or be, worded in a different way from your text. But it does require that you go in and update both. If I update all my email notifications, but I don't update my text messages will still be the default. Email will take on the changes I've made. So just realize there's both pages. We're going to use the email notifications as our example today. From here, any message that's being sent out from your system, you can update here. Maybe you have some brand guidelines that you're following. There's a narrative that you like your customers to hear and the way that you're talking to them. You can come in and just update what this says here. And you can do that for when an appointment is scheduled. So appointment confirmation, appointment reminder, cancellations, updates, maintenance plan scheduling requests, maintenance plan renewals, when the tech is on their way, if the tech is running late, and then your job forms, proposal comparisons, proposals, invoices, and review requests. Now, just kind of a more advanced pro tip, by default, this will say something to the effect of, this message is to confirm your scheduled appointment for this date. And, if you have any questions, contact us. But maybe you don't like giving a time, a specific time. You'd rather give a time frame. So instead of saying we'll be there at 3 p.m. sharp, you can say we'll be there between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. And to do this, you can use the available fields on the side here. And I actually have an example of what this looks like. I literally clicked in here and just typed the word time frame. And then I selected appointment time, which is here, and appointment end time, which is right underneath that. When my customer sees this, they will see this is to confirm your appointment. We'll be here at this date between these times. And it will just pull based on the actual time that you are scheduling to show that time frame. Cool. And so you can do this with any of these text boxes, edit them, update them as you wish. And the last tip I'll give on this page is setting up your review requests. Getting a great review documented somewhere where prospect customers can see is a huge way to get the word out about your great service that you provide and to get more customers and more business. The review request feature will allow you to send out a link that goes to your customer and it lets them know here are the places that you can go and give us a review. So to set that link up, you will click where it says review page link, click the edit pencil. If you have a Google business page, that's a great place to have customers give information because if someone types in, my air conditioning doesn't work into Google, you may show up as a solution to that in the Google search. And if you have great reviews on your Google page, people are going to see that. So enter your Google page, maybe Facebook you prefer, Yelp. And if you have a custom site, maybe you have a MailChimp form, or if your website has a place where customers can provide feedback, put that here by clicking Add Site. Each of these links will show up as a button, and when you send a review request out, your customer will get the message and have all these buttons, and they can click on that button to go to the site and give a review. So there you go. Just a reminder, if you do make any changes on this, always hit save to save your work. And then if you do make updates to one, like email, you'll want to also go in and make that same update to the text notifications as well, if you want. That's up to you. Okay, now let's take a look at other events. This one is fun. Let's go back to the schedule page. So when you're creating appointments, they're going to show up on the board. Those are customer facing appointments so you can run your jobs. However, you can create other events. Other events is the second option when creating an appointment. And other event will allow you to create internal events. These are not customer facing. You're not entering a location and sending a technician out to this. This is more of just like a reminder, a placeholder to give you information about an event that's happening within your company. It does come with stock event types. So maybe the events that you do are already here, and that's great. But you can also make your own custom event types. Something fun you can do is entering everyone's birthday. So, you don't know everyone's birthday by heart, but if you go in and you add everyone's birthday into your schedule, it might be nice just to say, oh, hey, it's Bill's birthday today. And you were able to remember that because you added a birthday event type here and added that into your schedule. Some other probably more business focused ideas would be Maybe you have a sales meeting that happens every Monday and you want just your technicians to go to it. I would say sales meeting. I've added a sales meeting event type. And then place or area. Let's say we're going to meet in the break room at the office. And our first event, let's say, will happen on Monday. And I would like this to happen weekly. We'll have a weekly sales meeting on Mondays. This is nice if you do have an event overlap. This will let you know. So maybe we need to push that to Tuesdays. Ruh-roh, things are happening on Tuesday as well. Uh, Wait, why is it saying that? Oh, that's because literally earlier in this session we set a recurring event, so that makes sense. This is happening because of that. So we could start this, let's say on the 6th, or I'll just know that that is fine, and those people who are part of that event just won't show up. And then last event date, let's say that I'm going to have this go through to the end of the year. And the time, we'll get them nice and early. Let's say before we start our day. So 7:30 to 8. And then users, you can choose all employees. You can choose by dispatch group. I want my technicians. If you need to set an event for an individual, you can just pick their individual username. Let's say it's for my techs. I can put any notes that I want to in here and click schedule. And now if we go to, actually, when did we set? I think I did it on here. There we go. So there it is. We made our sales meeting. I must have clicked forward a little too fast. So it starts April 6th. And that now is happening weekly on Mondays. And that's just a great way you can leverage that other event feature. Next, let's take a look at how you can use appointment tags. And let's go back to here. And there we go. So clicking new, let's get our customer. And if you scroll down underneath where you select the technician, there's a section for appointment tags. There's a couple different ways you can use this feature. I'd say one of the most common ways is literally what it says. You want to tag this appointment, which will tag the job with a tag, and that is available in some of our reports to filter by tags. So one use case of this is, let's say that this is a no AC call, but we consider no AC calls as service calls. So if I look at my service calls from the last 6 months in my reporting, this no AC call will show up. And I do want that because I want any type of service call to show up when I choose the service job type. However, maybe I just want to isolate also my no AC calls and I want to just look at my no AC calls. If I have it as a service job type, it will not pull up as a no AC call because it's not a no AC job type. However, I can tag it as no AC. And I think I do have a no. Yeah. If I do this, now I have two layers of filtering I can do in my reports. This job will show up if I look for the service job type, and it will also show up if I look for the no AC tag. So it's just another layer of tagging your jobs. That's one way to use it. Another way is to put reminders for your technicians that you are tired of typing over and over again for them. So you can let's say that you do a lot of jobs where they need to get to like higher places, get into the attic, etc. And each time in the notes down here, you have to write, bring the 12-foot ladder. You're reminding your techs of what they need to bring or do. If there's something you're noticing that you're having to manually type every single time, add it as a tag. And then when you select it, this bring 12-foot ladder tag will show up from a technician in the field, and they'll see that front and center when they go to do the job. So that's another way that you can use tags. And the final tip, the final way that you could use this is, and I really like this one. Let's say you're doing a job that has multiple phases or multiple visits. You know you're going to go out there 3 times to complete the full job. You don't want to change the job type. You don't want to make a job type that's like estimate and then, rough in and then actual install and, inspection. You don't want to change the job type. You want your job type to be what type of job it is. Furnace install. But if you know that that install is going to take a couple times to go out, you want a way to track that. And you can do that with tags. So I have created here 3 tags: visit 1, visit 2, visit 3. Let's say this is the first appointment, tag it as visit 1. Then the second appointment, you'll tag it as visit 2. And the third appointment, you'll tag it as visit 3. When you go in and look at the job next to the appointment, you'll see the tag. And let's see, well, let's just schedule so I can show you what that looks like. So that's good. We know this is visit 1. We'll hit schedule. And then if I hover and we go into that job, here's the tag right here. And, multiply this times 3, I would see the first one, visit 1, the second one, visit 2, and the third one, visit 3, and get customized with that. Maybe you're not calling it visit 1, 2, 3, you're calling it the actual phase that is being worked on for that appointment. All right, cool. So that is another way that you can use appointment tags. I think I forgot to show you how to actually add a custom tag. So let's look at that. New on the schedule page. Let's get our customer. And when you click into appointment tags, you'll be able to see the defaults. But to make your own, just click add new tag, enter it, and hit the green check. Once you do that, it will save in your appointment tag list and be available next time you go to choose it. All right. How are we doing on time? We got to get scooching. All right, I need to pick up the pace. Okay, so we did tags. We have flag for follow-up, time clock, account settings, and reports. So here we go. So for time clock, let's go first to the schedule page. So time clock, your technicians are able to clock time out in the field. You working in the office, you can track your time as you work in the office. There is a daily time clock, which is going to track your entire day. And there is a job time clock, which will track the time on the job. For the daily time clock to be correct, you do need to make sure that your time zone is selected correctly. Typically, this is set up when you first set up your account and it is correct, but I have seen instances where it's not. So to check this, in the very top right, you'll see a little world icon, and next to that should be your time zone. Click on that and you can just check. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, so we're in Eastern time. but wherever you are located, I think you guys said Idaho. If I'm being honest, I have no idea what time zone that is, but you should know, and then you can select that. Idaho. I couldn't even guess. Okay. It's PST. It's PST. I need to look at a map. I probably would not. Yeah. Let's move on. Moving on. Let's not make fun of my my lack of geographical knowledge. Okay. So that's good. And that is how you can just make sure that your time zone is correct. And then for looking at to actually clock in and use the daily time clock, you will click on the numbers here and click clock in. This is a great way just to track your daily time. You'll go, you're making appointments, you're scheduling. It's time for lunch, you just clock out. You come back from lunch, clock back in. And then at the end of the day, you're ready to clock out and go home. You clock out. Those timestamps will be visible for you here, but for anyone else on your team, or if you want to see other entries from other users, you will go to More Applications, Time Clock. And then from here, you'll see those entries per user. Let's see if I can set this back a little bit. And it groups them by time block, so we can see the total per block, and then the weekly total at the bottom. If you need to update or edit, you can click the three dots and edit an individual entry. And if you need to manually enter an entry, let's say someone forgot to clock in and out for the day, you can just click manual entry and add their info from there. And then the other time clock is on the job itself. And let's see. I think I may have clicked away from it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So when my technician, let's say Bruce here, he's out in the field. He was scheduled between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. on March 24th. And the actual time that he went out and did the job, he clocked on his mobile app. And that was 11:16 to 12:46. So he got there a little late, but he did stay later to do the job. I can see this very easily from any job page. So go into the job and look here. And if I need to update or edit this, I just click on the actual time. And let's say, he forgot to clock in and we want to include the trip time, the time it took for him to get to the job. So we can just click add new time entry. He got there at 11:16, so we know that. And he started driving there at, let's say, 10:45 a.m. And this was en route. This is when he was on the way to the job. So we'll click save. And now we can see a timestamp of he was on the way between 10:45 and 11:16, and he worked the job 11:16 to 12:46. Once I X out of here, that will update. And now we can see the total time of his actual time versus scheduled. If you want to see these time entries in bulk, however, we do have a appointments report called scheduled versus actual time. So we will go to reporting in the very top navigation, click on reporting. That will bring you to the reporting page. And we're looking for, under the users section, scheduled versus actual time. And then you can select your date range. Let's say I want to look at time clock job time clock entries from last week. So I would choose the 16th to the 20th. And here we go. If I want to isolate by technician, let's say Mark. I think Bruce, no, Dustin would be better. And there we go. So I can see last week, here are the job time clock entries that Dustin has made. This also will include unaccounted time. Unaccounted time is time that they are clocked into the daily time clock, but not clocked into a job. And so, if you're noticing there's a lot of unaccounted time, they're either not clocking in correctly or they're at the gas station. Maybe you want to check that out. Okay, next we have some custom account settings that you may want to set up in job preferences. So we're going to go to settings, jobs, job preferences. We actually do have some new things here. So if you have not been to this page in a while, I would recommend checking this out. And as this relates to scheduling and more importantly here, flag for follow-up, we have added a area where you are able to set whether you want your flag for follow-up to require an assignee or require a due date in order to save those flags. You can also determine from here, do you want to include or exclude technician travel time? So I'm a technician, I'm sitting in the truck, I'm ready to go. I'm going to hit on my way. If exclude technician travel time is off, like it is now, it will include that travel time. The time clock for the job will start when he hits on my way. If I do not pay my technicians for travel time and I just want to track time for them being at the job, then I would exclude technician travel time. So when I hit on my way, it will not start the time clock. When I hit at job, it will start the time clock then if this is turned on. That's up to you. And then click save to save any changes you've made on this page. Okay. And then let me look at my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, I have two more reports I do want to just point out for you, and then we will get into our Q&A. So get your questions ready. Let's go back to reporting. And reports that relate to appointments. We have the appointments report. So right here in the jobs section, let's open that. You have appointments and service requests right here. The scheduled versus actual time we already looked at. And then if you do scheduling for maintenance plans, the maintenance plan appointment scheduling report is going to be your best friend. All of these can be found from the reporting page by clicking reporting in the top left. Appointments report, exactly what you would think. It has a document of all appointments in your system. So if you create an appointment, it will show up on this page. You can filter by date range, job type, status, confirmation, technician. Maybe I want to look at, I have a new technician out there that I just want to look at all their appointments and just make sure they're clocking in correctly, and maybe even dive into the job to take a look at the work that they've done. Appointments and service requests is going to also include service requests, which are draft appointments that have not been scheduled just yet. Another nice thing about this report, the appointments and service request report, is that you can see at a glance any appointment notes that have been added. So maybe I'm looking at all of my appointments from last week by job type. So I want to see all of my installs that I did last week. And then if notes have been added to those jobs, I can just read the notes about what's going on with those. Now you do have to add notes for them to be here, but if you're really putting notes and entering notes when you're making the appointments, that's really nice to be able to see the notes for all jobs based on your filters all in one place in bulk. Pro tip, if you do want to download, so for some of our reports, there's a green download button. It's very obvious. You can just download the report. On the ones that look like this, there's no green button. If you want to download this report, you would click this button here. It looks like a little TV with the arrow coming out of it. Click on that, and you can download as an image, which is a JPEG, crosstab, which is Excel file, or PDF and PowerPoint. And then we looked at that one. Last one, maintenance plan appointment scheduling. If you are scheduling maintenance plan visits, this is the home base to do that. And most likely, you are going to ask yourself, who do I owe a service to right now? Who do we need to get technicians out and do those services? To find that, I would select current and current. So this is the current, this means the maintenance plan contract is current, not expired. And the service window is current, meaning we are within the time frame of the service window for that we signed up that customer for. And if you want to get only ones that are incomplete, unscheduled, we need to schedule them. You would also want to select unscheduled. Now I have a nice clean list of everyone I owe a service to right now. I can click unscheduled to do all of my maintenance scheduling right from here. And if I want to send a reminder for people to contact me so I can get them scheduled, click send notification, or sorry, select all, review, and send. And now your customer will get that message, see that it's time for them to do their, spring maintenance and be able to reach out to you. Let's say you're on this page and the customer calls you, you just type their name, and now any service that you owe to them is just right here. Okay, that is all the information that we have for today's presentation. I hope that you learned something. We're going to switch to our Q&A now, but I just want to say thank you so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Schedule and Dispatch Advanced.